The forge has gone quiet, the bellows blow no more. The forge has gone quiet, the smiths have gone home. Only fading embers remain, and my hearth grows cold. One kiss from you to rekindle it all.
All right, so we're back with our session 0 for Queen of Embers. We're going to do some dice rolling now to actually create characters. As we tend to do in Zweihänder, we will choose a lot of things, but we do like to kind of play it by the book for randomness. Yeah, so we're going to first start with our primary attributes. And we roll right down the line. So it's, you will take, excuse me.
What? Can't point by?
Yeah, no point buys. No point buys. It's funny, I actually ran across a copy of the book the other day that was missing a few packets from pages from the very front.
Yeah.
Where you didn't actually have anything to roll, so it was missing like pages 28 to 42. Okay, so everybody grab 3d10, and you will take this, roll it, and add 25, and that will be your combat.
It looked really good, and it turned out okay.
16.
No. Remember, you have the opportunity to give mercy later on.
I think I'll be using
so let's do your bronze, 25 plus 3d10.
Oops, I do always rotate.
No.
That's not as good as the last one. Oh.
Yeah, that's what'll happen. Then do agility.
Come on, big money, big money. I need this one to work. I need this one.
That's right. So for listeners, we're rolling our primary attributes down the line. The great thing about Zweihänder is that as you begin rolling your character, it kind of generates a very different thing. You end up with some interesting combinations that normally you wouldn't think of from like a role-playing kind of archetype.
Well, I didn't.
So let's do perception.
That is I rolled a 10 and a 1. That is just the worst thing you can do.
I've done that twice now.
16.
So let's do intelligence now. Then do willpower.
That was actually pretty good.
Oh, I forgot to keep switching. Of course. I always rolled stupid high on intelligence.
This is willpower.
Oh, I'm one behind. I always am, guys. You know.
Oh, sorry. I say you always want to roll really well in willpower, man. Having that,
That's right.
Peril bonus.
Fellowship.
Fellowship.
Wow.
Good or bad? Wow.
Bad.
Bad wow?
Yeah.
That's it.
I rolled 18
Under your fellowships.
Fellowship.
Oh man.
It kind of
was that?
So,
51?
yeah.
you should have all your values plugged in.
Oh, you rolled really well. Shut up.
On the top.
That's
Get
right.
out of here.
Now,
One more.
it looks like Tim's a little bit behind.
I'm always behind, guys. I'm gonna roll these other ones
What? You didn't
because I
roll that
switch
well?
back and forth. I know I'm a weirdo. It works in my brain. All right. Oh, that's good.
Let's look at these.
So,
7.
now,
That's the highest.
you have one of two choices.
That was-
In Zweihänder, you gain the Mercy option, which traditionally we know as replace any primary attribute with 42. But there's actually a new option in the second edition of Zweihänder that nobody's seen around the table. You may either change your lowest stat to 42 or swap the values of 2 attributes. So you could replace your willpower value with your intelligence value, and vice versa.
Interesting.
The choice is yours, but you may not do both options. You have both.
I didn't roll poorly on anything. I just rolled average.
Yeah, I rolled incredibly average.
I'm capped at average all the way across. I'm like just right at 40.
Yeah, your average value should be 42.
Right.
I'm at 40, 41, 44, 45. Well, 45, 40, 46, 41. My only one, and it always is always the same. Intelligence is. I don't know. I always were well. 48. The rest of them are all in the mid 40s.
If I add up all my stats, I rolled up exactly average.
Mm-hmm. What about yourself, Adam?
Me too.
I rolled below average on
bronze.
Yeah.
Bronze,
just
I've got
about
it.
everything except for Fellowship,
Like a big bronze.
which Man at Arms doesn't really use, which is 51. So
nice.
I don't.
But my
roll
combat's
over
40, my
50 very
bronze
often,
38.
So
Yeah.
My agility's 37.
take it while I can.
I'm just going to take.
So I'm
Brawn
switching
as a
something. I
42.
just don't know what.
Well, keep in mind that your primary attributes will impact your chances for success.
Right.
But it traditionally will not impact all that much your ability to withstand damage or psychological or physical peril. That is determined by your primary attribute bonuses.
Right.
So obviously each profession has its own bonus bumps. So you can probably optimize at a later time if you want. We can move on.
What was your combat?
40, and my bronze 38, so...
You got
I like to get my
you
either
have the
brawn
for what
or willpower up if I'm not 40.
What do you
Yep.
think? I think
Always good to
brawny.
have those up.
Yeah, brawn and
Yeah, 'cause I
willpower
can
are the
buy
kind of
skill
2
ranks.
primary attributes that I
You can
favor
buy for
to
for
have
combat.
higher values in.
Right, because I can use skills
Brawn
to
never-
get my
That's right.
attacking
Brawn's
up,
tough, man.
whatever up.
If you're playing that,
Is anybody swapping or replacing?
I'm
I'm
swapping.
swapping.
Okay.
I just put a 42 in my brawn because
Yeah, same here.
it was the lowest thing.
Yeah. Cool.
It was my only one. I was my only one I didn't really make 40 on. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's now time to determine ancestral traits, but before that, we're going to have some ancestral modifiers. So because you were all human, you will gain +1 combat bonus, +1 intelligence bonus, and +1 perception bonus. You have the smartest human ever.
The smartest, best looking.
Seriously,
Humans are notoriously willful. They get a -1 agility bonus, -1 fellowship bonus, and -1 willpower bonus.
Yeah, we go.
Yeah, we do. And nothing.
I'm just glad brawn is not a negative.
That's right. So what you're probably seeing on your character folios, which is not reflected in the new versions yet, but race has been replaced with ancestry in the book. So where you see race just replaces ancestry. It's time to generate our ancestral traits now. Everybody gets one, and let's pick up our percentile dice and roll together. And for our listeners, we should probably announce what we get. So, Mike, let's start with you.
Are we looking for ourselves?
I'll let you know what it is. And
I
you
got
can
a
read out loud.
67.
Just turn to page 31. So, Mike, you get a 67. Looks like Mike has a mixed bloodline.
Ooh.
That means you get to roll on an alternative ancestry's table.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's interesting. Okay.
Best stuff on that.
So roll your percentiles one more time.
Maybe got a little Aerodane in me.
That's where I got the
That's right.
the night vision, night eyes.
27.
Okay. Roll one more time.
What do you get?
About to tell him.
27 and 31. I don't know if there's
31. Well, it looks like your racial trait is escape artist. You can never be caught in a chokehold and may flip and succeed coordination tests to slip through bonds and other situations that may detain you from moving.
That
Page
is
35.
badass.
Yeah.
What did you roll to get the dirty blood? Because I want some dirty blood.
That was 67.
Sorry.
67 got me that mixed
So let's
blood.
go back to Adam. What'd you roll?
A 15.
I'm
What
not
if you-
Wall C with me. if
You
I
should
have
just
a
call that
escape
in
artist.
parentheses
That's right.
American.
Yeah, that's right.
Mixed bloodlines.
So 15 is danger sense. So go ahead and read about danger sense to us.
Danger sense. A rare few humans tend to get a funny feeling whenever a situation may turn dangerous. This danger sense also leads to odd dreams and sometimes plagues them with unusual visions during their waking hours. Whenever you are surprised, spend 1 fortune point to avoid it and take your turn as normal.
That's pretty nice.
Yes.
So what we'll do for future reads, we'll just do the name of the trait, then we'll do the effect.
Gotcha.
So danger sense, cool. So Tim, what'd you get for your high?
74.
74.
It's always.
You were a mountain amongst men.
Oh.
That's always great.
So what does mountain amongst men give you? It's page 32.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No
We're
worries.
supposed to be doing that, aren't we? Mountain among men. Some humans are incredibly tall, towering over their own kind. Being a hulking brute may have negatives and social consequences, which that's going to be awesome with my charm, as they are oft times perceived as being clumsy, dunderheads, and somewhat terrifying. Are these assertions correct? You decide.
What's the effect?
You're able to wield any two-handed melee weapon with one hand. Okay, that also means that you are you can freely take advantage of adaptable quality of weapons using only one hand. Finally,
Nice.
you will refer 90 to 100 on the height table. So, and you have to be husky build.
So you're fit, trim, and muscular. You're just a tall, towering. You're literally like
You're
the
biggin'.
stereotype
Biggin'.
of every Aerodane Persian.
Yeah.
Tall, hawkish, well muscled.
And looking down upon you all.
Literally.
I don't even have to attempt to do it.
Nick, what'd you get?
I rolled a 24, which means I got Dauntless.
That
Oh,
is
Dauntless.
That's the other best.
You are immune to the
That's
effects
so
of Intimidate skill and cannot be stunned or knocked out.
That's
The best.
pretty
It's so good.
awesome. And then we did
Besides-
Mike. So Adam, what'd you get?
I got Danger Sense.
Oh, Danger Sense, that's right. So we've covered up on everybody's racial traits. Ancestral traits. Love it. Okay, let's move on. So you already know what your archetype is. We've already kind of gotten that. You've already chosen your profession. We're not randomly rolling for that, which is fine. Let's determine your season of birth, everyone. Mike, what'd you roll?
64.
You can roll sweet summer child. Just kidding. You're autumn.
I thought it was
Autumn
on.
born. What'd you get, Nick?
I rolled a 53.
You also were born in autumn. Adam?
15.
You were born in spring. Tim, what'd you get?
56.
You were also born in autumn. So the reason why we determine season of birth is because every child, despite where they're from, by the age of 10 is taken before a prognosticator to determine the way in which they will die. You need to write this under your dooming. This is important.
Doom.
So everybody roll percentiles once more. Okay. Adam,
86.
86. When were you born?
Spring.
Spring. 86. Twice for poison. Thrice for a kiss.
Uh-oh.
Enigmatic. Twice for a poison. Thrice for a kiss. What'd you get, Mike?
I got a 66.
And you were born in autumn, right?
Correct.
The abyss also gazes back. That's interesting because we talked earlier about your character kind of being like from a very religious family. Is it possible that the last cataclysm has cast some sort of shadow or portent over your birth? Or has some meaning toward why you were... Because you remember, your dooming is essentially your primary role-playing tool. That becomes something you could refer to when you think about how your character acts in situations. Look to your dooming to help kind of guide you to make that choice.
So the abyss also stares back.
Yeah. Hell stares back.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be just since we are kind of a religious family by nature that, like they maybe take notice of us and they try to corrupt us.
Yeah. It's very
You're
possible.
afraid of the dark.
I'm not. The dark's afraid of me. It stares back.
That's
All
right.
right.
You've been adopted to the darkness. I was born in it.
The abyss.
So, Nick, you were born in autumn, I believe, right?
Yes.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 45, which means my dooming is you will die in a pool of blood, but it will not be yours.
Mm. And then, Tim, are you born in
Autumn and 48.
48? Oh, you need to re-roll it. You have the same dooming as Nick.
Oh,
Yeah. It's okay.
61.
61. Your dooming is new beginnings herald sudden ends.
Oh, man. A whole life's new beginnings.
So, if you think about it from this perspective, when you think about role-playing a character in Zweihänder, essentially there's kind of a pyramid of role-playing tools. Well, there's I should say, take that back. It's actually the foundation is your dooming, and then how you react to situations, your order and chaos alignment, which we'll get to soon. We want to move on to age group. I will let you choose your age group if you like, unless you want to randomly roll. It's kind of up to you.
It's usually just a... Are you guys re-rolling?
I'm gonna pick middle-aged.
Okay.
I'm an adult.
Ugh.
That's what I usually just put down.
Yeah, I normally just go adult. We'll see. Yep, adult.
What are you, Tim?
Same.
Adult. Cool. So the reason why age group is important
It's
is it is
59, right? That's
Yeah.
Yes.
Up to
Okay.
70 is adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So age group is important because
I'm not elderly.
that's right.
Yeah. That's,
Are you really?
I'm not elderly.
Okay.
It's alright, I still yet to become corpulent, so...
He's
So
going
in traditional role playing games, age always plays like, how do you penalize your ability scores? Well, we don't do that in Zweihänder because that seems kind of crippling. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel right. Instead, it determines how many distinguishing marks you've gained over your years, things you were born with, or kind of things about your physical appearance, or things that develop over time from wounds or injuries or psychological stuff, or even sometimes just embarrassment. Anyway, so for those of you who are adults, everybody on the table is an adult?
Middle-aged.
Okay, so everybody roll percentiles.
I'm Lichtenberg Star.
Okay, so Adam, what did you get?
75.
Okay, you have a pronounced brow.
Okay.
Low brow.
70.
70. You have a perpetually deep frown.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You have resting bitchy face.
Yeah.
Is that the thing, right? Okay.
Resting bitchy face. Can I put that down?
It's up to you. Has to be resting bastard
Just
face.
RBF. You know?
RBF. There's a whole thing about it online. You can read about it. It's
Yeah.
pretty funny. I have resting asshole face. I've been told that at work. It's like, you always look at your angry or sad. I'm like, no, I'm just deep in concentration and I smile. So Nick, what'd you get?
I rolled 78.
You have a rash of pimples.
How
Think about
embarrassing.
this. Who's the Admiral Adama? Who was that actor from Battlestar Galactica?
Oh,
yeah.
Edward
That
James
Almost.
Olmos.
Edward Almost.
Yeah, Edward James Almost, right? Or Almost, rather.
Almost.
How
So
do you
think
say
of
his
that.
name?
Like do you have kind of like acne scars on your cheeks?
Pineapple face.
Pineapple face, yeah. Is that what it's called?
When you have like pimple scars and stuff, yeah, and you feel like
There's another actor in Scarface too that's like that as well.
Scarface? No.
Scarface? No. Is that his character's name? No. I can't remember the guy's name. He's Puerto Rican, I believe, who had kind of deep acne scars on his face too. He was in The Heat as well. Michael Mann.
Oh,
Yep, you know what
yeah.
I'm talking
Michael
about.
Mann puts him in all his films.
Yeah, he's
doesn't he?
badass
Yeah,
too.
fuck.
Yeah, I'm like,
What is that
dude,
guy's
Edward
name?
James almost. I always notice them because they have like those deep kind of rash, like from pimples on their face.
The guy who Machete. He was.
Oh yeah, the guy
He's
from
got that
yeah.
shit. What the? I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
He's in fucking Heat too. What am
he
I?
is.
Damn.
I know. So
What a great movie.
What is your
I rolled a 93.
93?
can't I think of that guy's name?
You have a vulgar tattoo. Somebody has the Triss tattoo, I think.
Yeah. When I saw Vulgar Tattoo, I was like, well, I know what it is.
So we're Eskimo brothers, or what do they call it? Farrasini brothers.
Farrasini brothers.
Yes.
Interesting. So, in the world of Mahal, or specifically in the girdle, there is when brothers, I say brothers loosely, when they learn that they have slept with the same person, man or woman, doesn't really matter. They get what's called the Triss tattoo, which is a tattoo of this like rough-looking woman holding a shield and a sword that implies that they have both died in the lap of the same woman or man. Leave it up to you what that choice was. Maybe it's a tattoo that you hide. I don't know, but it's something distinguishing about you.
Tramp stamp. I'm so ashamed.
It's a tramp stamp. Instead of a butterfly, it's dragon wings across above the buttocks. Okay, and so adults have one distinguishing mark, but you're middle aged, so you have one more. Nick.
And this time I rolled 40.
40.
Which
You have a Glasgow grin.
Hmm.
You have the Joker smile. Somebody cut your mouth. Oh my gosh, this is interesting now. So
I have
basically,
a really fucked up face.
Your face
You
is
do.
fucked up.
You've got a rough life. Imagine that. You're a camp follower.
who's the dude that was in Braveheart who had he literally was from, he was an Irish guy and he had the Glasgow
Yeah, he was also in
Sons of
Glasgow's
Anarchy.
mine? Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy.
And he had pockmarked face.
He was in
Not
Gladiator.
Gladiator. Oh, he wasn't Gladiator. Oh my gosh.
He's
So
in so much.
when I see your Grawlster now, I'm seeing that actor. Because that's
I need to see a picture of
badass.
this person now.
Yeah. Pull it up while we
Let's
continue
see.
going through this.
We have the internet at our hand.
Okay, so build type. Everybody needs to determine their build. This is important. You can choose or you can roll. I'll leave it up to you.
Let's see if I get corpulent. Oh no, I am super skinny.
You're frail.
Yeah, I am.
Minus 20% for all food and armor and clothing.
42, right? That's normal.
God damn.
42 is normal.
Oh, wait, I have to be husky. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to.
Oh, you're husky.
Yeah, sorry about
it's
that.
husky is plus 10 for all clothing.
Yeah, I know.
and-
I know.
I'm frail.
Oh boy,
This is
minus 20.
like
What'd you get, Nick?
two
I
times in a row I've had
rolled
mountain
a
against
56,
a mountain
I
among
believe.
So you're
them.
normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to determine height based on your results. So everybody roll percentiles. Everybody's male, I'm assuming, you're on the table, no females.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll you still have to roll.
Oh, it's 91 between.
Yeah, he's always the
Oh, I'm
highest.
sorry, you're right. So we'll get to you in
91
just a moment. So
yeah,
one moment, Tim. So Adam, what'd you roll?
30.
And you're frail?
Yeah.
Okay. You are 5'7" and 127 pounds. You're almost Adam-like.
No. Even though I'm 5'9".
Oh, damn you. So in your case, Tim, your character will be 6'2" and 253 pounds of cordon muscle. Like you're literally your Prince Charming. You probably have a coy. Not husky as in
Rob's like
heavy.
Gaston.
Husky as in like
Gaston.
like Gaston, exactly.
Oh,
Like
wow.
you tiny legs. You skip leg day is what I'm saying. Skip leg day. You got huge tries and big pecs, but nothing else.
I only do arm day and back.
That's right. Pecs and arms, bro. You skip leg day. But yeah, you're literally Gaston. You
Skip like I love that. Yeah.
Definitely
okay.
not Hosea Gaston.
no. So Nick, what'd you roll?
I rolled a 54.
A 54. So you are 5'10" and 181 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And what about yourself, Mike?
I rolled an 83.
You're normal, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're
No, it's the smallest.
oh, you're frail.
Yeah, I'm frail.
Okay. You're 6'1", 163 pounds. You're basically me in high school. Gosh, I remember when I was 160 pounds. That was great. Then I got old.
Yeah.
Right? So does everyone have their height done? You want to choose your hair and eye color, or you want to re-roll? Or you want to randomly roll?
Roll
I want violet eyes.
92.
You got violet eyes?
No, I want it.
Oh.
Okay. Your hair
Yes, I
color,
thought that was
Tim,
good.
is jet black, which means you are blessed. Remember, the Eridane believe that children born with dark hair are blessed.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
82.
82. You
My
have
Doomy doesn't say that.
red
does
hair,
it?
my friend.
Wow.
Nick, what'd you roll?
Is that
56.
No.
No.
56. You have black hair.
Mm-hmm.
You're a forester and you have red hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that works.
Kissed by fire.
I guess,
Literally.
Old Iron Eye had it.
I guess I should start laughing like that more often, too.
So, just do your hair color real quick.
76.
76. You have ginger hair.
If you're a pyromaniac, it's going to be a family.
Okay, now we're doing eyes. What'd you get, Adam?
58.
58. You have light brown eyes.
You have Betty Davis
Tim.
eyes. 16.
You also have dark brown eyes. Oh my God, you really are blessed by the gods. Because remember, the faith of the covenant, the Eridane traditionally have blonde hair and blue eyes. Dark hair only traditionally runs in the Rovanian. So when a Eridane person is born with dark hair and dark eyes, they don't believe they intermix their blood, even though it's probably what happened. Instead, they believe they are blessed by the gods. Okay, all right. Nick, what'd you roll?
I rolled a 77.
77. Somebody's got dark green eyes. Green ID.
11.
11. Good dark brown eyes. Cool. So, upbringing. So upbringing is important because it reduces the number of reward points you need to buy focuses. This is up to you to choose. I wouldn't randomly roll this. This probably has character. This probably is related to your backgrounds we've spoken about. So I would choose the one that makes the most sense to you from a story point or a mechanical perspective.
Is it
Page 60.
60 or 61?
60.
Okay.
You know what's crazy?
And you should look on 221. If you didn't remember one of my characters that we talked about earlier, it's right there.
So page 60, the interesting thing about this, I was looking at the new proofs for the new Zweihänder. Page 60 is actually now on page 45.
Oh, nice.
It's how we've been saving a lot of pages by changing the layout. It's great.
Wow.
We haven't lost any content. We've just optimized what we had. And somehow the page breathes better now. It feels much better. And plus we're sepia tones, so that helps too. Looks much better.
So would you think Hamish's upbringing would be more military
Reverent.
or reverent? Okay, I was
Reverend.
reverent. I will take.
I chose
100%.
industrious.
Industrious makes sense.
Cultured.
Cultured? Oh, 100% cultured.
I rolled a 19. Actually, no. If I'm a forester, it'd be warlike.
Militant. Yeah,
Militant.
I guess you'd be militant.
Yeah, to say the foresters were disciplinarians would be a vast understatement. They didn't get belted. You had to go cut your own switch from the willow tree to get whipped. So my grandfather did, and I freaking hated
I
it.
hated that too.
Yeah, it's funny.
And if you got the littlest ones, you got sent back out and you
that
got
guy.
beat twice
Okay.
as hard.
Yep. I don't physically discipline my child. Because I remember that having the horror of having to go cut my own switch was the worst. Because in Missouri, like you get a pocket knife when you're like 6 or 7, and that's what you cut your switch with. But yeah, despite the foresters were very militant, suffice to say. So I think we should choose social class 2. This actually plays toward a little bit. I feel towards the character background. You're clearly lowborn.
Okay.
Even though you may have been born of a higher birth in Gralstead, that would be what you'd be seen as in society. You're a burger through and through. You are a forester, right? You're lowborn too. You, my friend, are an aristocrat.
Yeah, I figured that. It makes sense.
So,
I'm an
who here is
aristocrat.
lowborn? Roll 3d10 and add 3, and that's the number of brass pennies you start with. And you could put that on your character folio under money.
17.
Burger, 2d10 plus 2.
I'm gonna roll these gold dice. Yeah, here.
Yeah.
19.
They're weighted. Yeah. For her culture. So how many brass pennies did you start out with, Nick?
20.
How many brass pennies did you get, Adam?
19.
Okay.
He's wealthy.
Okay.
There we are.
How many silver
Doing
shilling
well.
did you start with? Mike?
11.
Okay. Roll 1d10 and add 1. That's how many gold crowns you start with, Tim. 8 gold crowns.
He's only got 8 coins.
I break it down into shilling and pennies.
Don't
though.
worry, you'll lose it all.
Yeah,
in the first session.
Every time I've ever been this,
Break
Every
it down into
time I
smaller
have
coins,
more
though.
than 1 gold.
it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Like I said, Tim, break it down like 5 gold
Okay.
crowns and do the rest in shilling and brass pennies using your translation above. Break it so you have smaller coins. I do the same thing too if I were you, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay,
Gold.
so
Who needs it?
languages. We need to write this down. This will be important too because we are talking about different ethnic groups within the Rovane Girdle and others you'll encounter. Your languages will come into play. I believe there's a spot for languages. Yep.
Languages, no. Yep.
So, you will all speak the common tongue, which is called Ald, A-U-L-D. Been a while since we heard that one. We played so many campaigns out of the South. God, for that time. Anybody here have... So, the way you learn languages is not based on intelligence. It's not how smart you are. It's not how cultured you are. Meaning, when you immerse yourself in a culture, like as an example, like if you go to Mexico, like you can learn all about Spanish that you want in the class. You probably have a leg up, but aside other people. But most people, when you go to a Hispanic speaking city or Spanish speaking city, will talk in their own sort of way, this cultural way, like the way we speak differently in the United States. There's certain colloquialisms. So the way in Zweihänder this reflects, because people are not necessarily well book read, we lean on the idea of like immersing yourself in culture will help you better understand the language of others. So in the case of Gralstead, you will speak Danish, which is, and we talked about prejudice before, the Denmen, the people of the north, speak, or they're called the hillsmen behind their back. That's a prejudicial word for them. And their tongue they speak is Blarney.
Right.
But the truth is it's called Danish.
And the behind their backs, they call it marble mouth, too.
Marble mouth, yeah, all kinds of bad stuff. But yeah, so
He's
you will
speaking marble mouth.
Danish. I would think that as somebody who is cultured, you probably speak Gothric, because the Eridane have dealt with the Gothric for some number of years. That is another racial group to the south that will come into play perhaps sometime during this.
Where Gangs of Gehabro is.
That's right. That's where Gangs of Gehabro takes place. So that comes to you. I feel you would, because you were a lowborn, in fact, both of you probably speak folk tongue. Folk tongue is spoken by these people who live in the Steadwall Mountains to the west between Aglador and the Girdle. They're colloquially called the Steadwallers, but they're actually called the Folk with 2 F's. They're similar to the Danish, but they're more less civilized, for lack of a better term. They're kind of crazy and
Oh, I remember that.
yeah,
the folk.
Yeah, folk.
Torque Lords?
the Torque Lords. Yeah,
Yeah. It's the reason Ethan won the throne.
that's right. He engaged Earl Randall Long, who literally his namesake was established because he had the longest schlong among the clans, and that was his namesake, Lord Randall Long. The folk are a very kind of simple, brutish, stupid people, but they are warriors through and through. And the Torque Lords were like their upper echelons, because remember, Danziger Goth's son.
He was.
Yeah.
Danziger was like, he was half Gothric, half folk, and he was like outcast from their society.
It's like Rambo.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like the Rambo character.
He was.
He was fucking awesome.
Too warlike.
He was Marlbow, where his name was, right? So in Zweihänder, everybody gets a fate point. But you have the opportunity during character creation to earn an additional fate point if you wish, but only if you take a drawback. Drawbacks are always kind of interesting character builders, but not necessarily always fun. I will tell you this. We know the way you earn fate points is through growing your order ranks, not by growing your chaos ranks. And we earn fate points over time. I will say that this game we will have combat at I would say at a somewhat steady pace, perhaps, depending on the choices that you make. The fights will be tough. We will have very sticky tactical combat. We may move to the grid for this. I'm still trying to make that decision right now. Depending on if we get the basement put together in time for the cameras, we may or may not. But regardless, we will have, I would say, combat will be much more common than it has been in previous campaigns, because the story will have some interesting climactic moments, I feel. So if you wish to get an additional fate point now, you must take a drawback. You don't have to. But one fate point may not do you very much good if you have 10 sessions to get through and hopefully not accumulate any corruption to earn enough order rings to gain a fate point. So it's entirely up to you. And if you choose a drawback, if you choose to take a drawback, choose any drawback you like.
You're choosing drawbacks?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even... you know what I get every time?
Weak lungs.
Yeah, you do.
I've gotten weaklings and eunuch, and I've had eunuch the last 3 times, though. I'm like, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I'm just done being a
I
eunuch.
know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's why I was going to say no.
Normally in Zweihänder we say randomly roll everything from the top down. And I say that for people who are new to the game because it creates interesting combinations you would never think about. Like as an example, we had a gnome pimp who was a eunuch and who was unlucky. We've had a lot of interesting characters. We've had a one-handed... It was a one-handed gnome eunuch who was a pimp or a prostitute, but a pimp in this case. A lot of interesting characters, but because we've played Zweihänder for so long, we tend to kind of choose what we want to play, what's best for our character stories, what may fit the world. So I'll allow you to choose if you like, or you can skip a drawback, or you can randomly roll. I recommend that you make a choice as a group, meaning one person shouldn't roll and the rest choose. It should be you should make a choice together to make something that's unique.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to choose a drawback. You just move on.
So you can just take Dunderhead.
I kind of wanted to.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to complement them both. I wanted to roll 3 rolls and choose from that, rather than just straight up choose. Because I mean, if I chose Black Cataract, I don't think that would be necessarily fair.
Right.
Like.
So if you do that, then you only leave 10 choices for 3 people around the table, because you're potentially choosing one of 3. So I suggest not randomly rolling. I suggest choosing something that's suitable for your character, your vision of your character, or the story. Okay. If you choose to do a drawback, you don't have to.
Brandon. Oh, sorry.
Brandon, like falling like rain.
You want to go Brandon? That makes sense.
No, I don't want to do Brandon.
Well,
was it Vernon Brandon?
He was.
Yeah, because he was an outcast. Because he left.
That's right.
I know this character already has a rival, so...
Is it... I mean, Brandon would be interesting because...
But maybe Nemesis.
I think Nemesis is probably your best, since you already have a rival, right?
But it can't be Vernon.
Okay.
Vernon died.
Oh.
He did?
Those characters died up north in Stonehold.
Right. All those died.
He did?
Yeah.
We met him later.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yeah,
we
met
that guy.
He's the one that led us up to...
Oh, my God.
You're right.
I think he was the only survivor.
He was our guy.
I don't know. Dogborn Steel was a thing, so...
I would... Okay,
he survived,
so
I know that.
I think we retconned some things. It's okay.
We could do that if you chose a Nemesis.
Okay.
I think that would be...
Because I thought Balbanese initially started taking over Durindal.
My opinion on Nemesis... I have an opinion on this. Sometimes it makes sense up front. Sometimes it doesn't. Because because factions will play heavily in the game, you may earn Nemesis over the time. Mm-hmm. I would suggest not taking Nemesis just as a rule. Although it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have a rival. It doesn't mean that Vernon is still out there trying to do whatever.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he's like... Vernon wouldn't necessarily be actively going against this character. He would just...
Right.
If he ran into him, he'd probably spit in his face or whatever. But like he wouldn't just like after him.
Yeah, and to give you an idea, a Nemesis is literally 2 people who have so much hatred for one another, they are actively seeking to kill the other. Not avoid the other, but to kill one another.
Right.
That is essentially, it's kind of like it's like a sub goal for a game. Like, my Nemesis is out there, and if I don't kill him first, they have to kill me.
We had a lot of those that first game I was playing. That was great.
Yeah.
Although I don't think any character actually killed their Nemesis. There's always like another person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to introduce the Nemesis system for the Lord of the Rings game. It'll be really cool. The dudes who kill you level up. Save point. Yeah. So I would suggest not taking Nemesis, just because I think that those things will be shaped in the story if and when they happen.
I got a couple ideas for drawbacks.
I mean, the Gralsitters were all pretty much branded to some degree. I mean, that you could pick up that, but that makes it really tough for you to succeed in social situations, particularly being lowborn as you are. So I wouldn't. I mean, you could choose Brandon if you want. There's a lot of different drawbacks you can choose. Obviously, anyone can choose whatever they want. I would just avoid Nemesis as a rule. So, Tim, have you thought about taking a drawback?
I never take them anymore.
All right.
I'm thinking maybe debt ridden then.
That was the only other one.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so
that's the only.
Let's go in order here, guys.
Okay.
So, Tim, no drawback.
Nope. Because debt ridden was the only one that made sense for this character, and I mean, I don't. It just doesn't.
Where you were branded as a criminal, but yeah.
Yeah, Fellowship's the only thing this character has.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
Terrible idea for Unique or Branded.
So, Nick, in your case, you want to choose
debt ridden.
Debt ridden? Okay. So that's interesting because you may think about it from the perspective of that this notorious Gralstetter, who was clearly from Durindal, who's now part of the Dufresne Agency, like is kind of looked upon by the locals still with great apprehension. Like they're not going to traffic with him in coin or anything, and when he does, he's incredibly difficult negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Being a camp follower, you're more industrious anyhow. So you kind of lived a hard scrabble life and understand how to get by, even if you don't have the coin for what you want to purchase. But when that time comes, it will make it difficult. So, Adam, what were you thinking?
I'm thinking of one of two things. Either one. Now, when you were saying don't think of Nemesis, were you thinking for him or for everyone?
Everyone. I would choose. I would avoid Nemesis.
Okay. Because I was thinking I could go after someone who killed my grandpa, but then in that case, perhaps...
Well, nobody killed your grandfather. He killed himself.
True, yes.
Pyrrhic victory, as
Yes.
one says.
Yes, okay.
He literally burned himself to death trying to
That's
burn other
right.
people to death.
That's right.
That's the way Jeremy wanted it.
Um,
Old Iron Eye died, and he was basically he was consumed literally by his disorder. Firebug.
So on that, I was going to go with crop ear, thinking of like maybe some discipline that had gone wrong.
Oh, that's interesting.
But
like a misplaced dodge away from like a practice of sword practice, and that kind of took your ear off or something like that.
no, I'm thinking like abusive discipline.
Oh,
I actually had an uncle who was in a fire and he lost like both his ears and some fingers. It's crazy, but yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
So
like
you could have been in a fire. And
I
just,
could
like,
have been in a fire. Yeah, that would be.
is that a little too on the nose?
Well, so I was thinking one of two things. I don't like this drawback, but it makes sense. Well, I don't like either one. So either crop ear from fire or discipline. We don't have to nail it down yet. Or cursed, because that family seems to always find itself on the wrong end of fate.
Yeah, Dismas Forrester, a member of Brigandine, they've kind of done some bad stuff. They have a bad. There's like a hex kind of cast over their family. They kind of almost kind of lean, the whole lean in thing. They kind of lean into the darkness a little bit. They're trying to do the right thing. They kind of lean into their family curse. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's what.
The Forrester family is essentially cursed. Everyone knows about Iron Eye and his temperament. Everyone knows about Dismas and his unyielding malice toward people. He gives no quarter.
Yeah.
There was nothing. In fact, is Dismas, is he your father?
Yes.
Okay. So Brigandine is the active military unit in Durendal. Brigandine being a mercenary unit that patrols the roads of the Girdle, and are not based in Durendal, but they have way stations there. So Durendal's under military rule, in essence. So that's going to provide some interesting kind of... Okay, I love it. So choose what you want.
Well, I mean, does anybody else have an opinion on the two between crop ear and cursed? I'm starting to think maybe more cursed.
Cursed.
I don't know. I was thinking either cursed just because of my upbringing and my dooming of the abyss always stares back. I was also thinking...
Cursed fits your playstyle, too.
Yeah, it does.
Mine? Okay, yeah. That's what it is.
Black
Yeah, and you know what that means? We're gonna run out of
because
fortune
that's
points.
attack
Yeah.
actions using range weapons.
But
It's
he's kind of like me.
all my
He rarely
characters.
uses fortune points.
Instead, I was thinking maybe either veteran
Actually,
boot
this
or
group
veteran
really uses
leg,
fortune points.
and that's
I
what
use them.
caused me to go more towards horse riding.
Okay.
Yeah, but you also do a lot
Instead
of
of-
rolls.
Let's let Mike speak, please.
Sorry.
This guy. Make it listeners can't hear.
So I was thinking like veteran's boot or veteran's leg would explain why I went more the horse path instead of just the normal targeteer.
Is it possible that you got horse trampled when you were younger? It doesn't have to be a war wound.
Right.
Even though it's called veteran's leg or veteran's boot, I mean, at this point, you all are still very fresh and green.
Yeah, because cursed or debt-ridden
We'll be done in like
seemed
10
it
minutes.
okay. I never really liked eunuch or weak lungs.
Okay.
Those are
So
always-
once you give it some consideration, Nick, did you come to a decision?
Yeah. Debt-ridden.
Okay, so debt ridden for Nick, nothing for Tim. Adam,
Cursed.
cursed. Okay.
Earth.
And do you want anything, Mike?
Cursed. Cursed.
Not trying to rush you, but I just want to make sure we kind of get everybody penciled in.
I'm thinking veteran's boot.
Veterans boot. Okay. Cool. So, now we turn to alignment. And this, much like your dooming, is the kind of underpinning of your character's, quote, role play. Remember, alignments, you aren't characters pulled by two strings. You're not puppets, essentially. These alignments come into play in perilous and dangerous and potentially psychologically damaging situations. You can use these to kind of guide your character, but once again, alignment is not meant to be a straitjacket. You act how you want. But in bad situations, you kind of lean into one or the other. And if you're ever kind of caught in a situation where you, the player, don't know how your character will react, take a look at your alignments, and that could be a good kind of guide. I would not recommend randomly rolling on these because you guys have kind of created some interesting kind of character ideas already with interesting backstories, and you could probably choose a pairing of alignments that make the most sense for that character. As an example, when we talk about second chances or third chances with Tim's character as an example, that may be an opportunity to think about choosing an ordering chaos element pairing that plays to that. When we talked about Adam's, the cursed nature of the Foresters and being from a military discipline in their family, you may want to think about an orderly chaos element that plays toward that. With you, Nick, you spoke a little bit about like being from Gralstead and kind of standing above the rest. Maybe there's some pairings that make sense for you.
Independence and rebellion.
If you think that's something that would be attractive to Dufresne, but is that an X factor? Is that make you a loose cannon?
Okay.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, think about this. Like, you can kind of frame your characters up around like the A-team. You'll have something interesting that you do, but you have kind of things in your temperament, your alignment, that kind of make you, kind of are your own thing. So even though you may be a member of the Dufresne, that's an interesting idea. I wouldn't poo-poo any choice, in fact, around the table. I think you should choose what makes the most sense that you feel comfortable playing.
Okay.
But I would urge cautious choice in what you choose based on what you've told me already, based on around your character's background and stories.
So 2 ideas: wit and scorn, and diplomacy and hypocrisy.
That's it. Wit and scorn, both are interesting.
I'm with the second chance and also
Right.
kind of what I'm thinking about.
Right. I mean, because you think about it from the perspective of, like, when Tim's character is kind of, if you're toward the chaos rank, it's like you're kind of giving in to your old self.
Right.
You're kind of like, you're just being scornful. Like, people kind of see you as, like, the guy's full of malice.
Right.
For everything and everyone. And when you kind of lean into your order alignment, it's like, okay, he's a pretty clever person, he's amiable, he's somebody we can trust, You did talk earlier about arrogance.
Yeah.
Looking down, like how you could potentially do that. That could be dignity and vehemence. That may be because it may be that you kind of see yourself as this paragon because you are blessed with dark hair, because you are believed to be chosen by the faith, that comes into play. I mean, there's different ways you can frame that up. Obviously, other ways it could be is pride and arrogance.
Well, I saw pride and arrogance.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's almost the basis for the entire race of the Aridane.
No, they are prideless people. They believe themselves to be very upright, and we have the best of culture.
Right. You subcultures.
There were no horses, stirrups, or steel until we came to this world. What are you thinking, Adam?
I could lean into one side of the Foresters and just go ferocity and hatred.
Mm-hmm.
The other side, I kind of see them as is like adaptation and mayhem.
I think that's actually what Iron Eye had, in fact, for his...
Yeah. I mean, he was like... They definitely had a lot of pride, but I didn't sense arrogance.
No.
But the adaptive, I mean, that makes sense for the Dufresne agency, though. You're malleable. You'll fit a situation. You'll find a way.
That's right. If you can't find the way, you just
fuck
it all.
Burn it all.
Kick in the door and burn it down.
Burn down the building.
Right. I mean, mayhem would be very easy to follow along that family trait.
That's a good one, yeah. Right.
What were you thinking, Mike?
Ambition and tyranny. Because he has this idea in his head that he kind of wants to either meet or exceed those who came before him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he, literally fell off the horse but got back up on it, and maybe even lost his leg due to it, like you were talking about, or foot for it, and then but still, wanted to.
Yeah, that's
push
interesting.
through it. Otherwise, I'll look through his firearms. But
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where you can almost talk about, like, my grandfather taught me these life lessons. You fall off the horse, you get back up on it.
right.
My
grandpappy said,
My grandfather walked halfway across the world barefoot. He instilled in us a lot of lessons.
Literally, he walked halfway across the world barefoot.
Yeah. So anybody settle on what they want?
Yeah.
Okay, so your adaptation of mayhem,
Yeah.
Adam. Okay, Nick.
I was leaning towards candor and cruelty, I think.
Mm-hmm. You're very frank, but in the same token, people don't see you as somebody who, they kind of see you as a barbarian. Your ways are cruel and uneven. Cruel by modern standards.
Mm-hmm.
But that maybe plays toward the way that the Gralsitters kind of are isolated from the world. Like you could take the Gralsitter out of Gralsta, but you can't. Wait. You can take Gralsitter into Aguilar, but you can't take the Gralsitter out of the Gralsitter, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right, there's an idiom somewhere in there, or metaphor rather. So Tim, what'd you choose?
Pride and arrogance.
Okay.
It just made sense.
Is anybody undecided still?
The wit and scorn sounded real fun.
Anybody? Sorry.
I was thinking maybe compassion and melancholy.
That's interesting, because that I like that. It's a different take, particularly when you pair that, because I know you want to get a sharpshooter. You pair that with that
That's what I was
drawback,
thinking.
and you pair that with the deep religious foundations of the Clavigers. Like that is an interesting kind of. It doesn't necessarily make you a pacifist.
Right.
It just makes you compassionate.
Right.
Like you would rather settle. You'd rather settle with words and let's talk about what this really means, not before you pick up the sword and kill somebody, right?
Right.
It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go with that.
Okay, so we obviously have trappings to plug in. However, I think we should do that in our next session because of the time and because we'll actually do a little bit of mock combat during that, which will be fun. So we'll go on to wrap up for tonight. So this was Queen of Embers Session 0. Thank you all for creating characters. This was actually a lot of fun compared to what we did with our Curse of Strahd stuff. I felt really good about this. I don't know how you guys feel
I feel good.
Feel better.
about
A
your
lot
choices.
I like it.
Okay. All right, so we'll wrap up, and we will continue in a week or so with our next sessions for Queen of Embers. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks again for your patronage. Appreciate it. We'll have more to come in the coming days of the Grim Perilous podcast. Thanks again, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.